Hello, grade fours. Here is your first reading lesson for the week, term 3, week 5, 2021. Your learning intention is to be able to make connections during reading. Your success criteria: I can make text to self connections. I can make text to text connections. I can make text to world connections. Please make sure that you have watched the warm-up YouTube clip called Making Connections in Reading before you listen to this teacher screencast, because we will be referring back to the connections that the author has made. So in this lesson, and each reading lesson this week, we will be asking you to make connections to your reading. We are going to ask you to read the text that the grade 4 teachers have selected for that day, and then you are going to make a text to self connection, a text to text connection, and a text to world connection. The books we are going to choose are going to be ones that we know that you will be able to make connections to. So today we will be reading Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Let's talk about why it's important to make deep connections to your text. So you understand or comprehend the text better when you make different kinds of connections. So it helps readers understand how characters feel and the motivation behind their actions, or why a character is behaving the way the character is. It helps readers have a clearer picture in their head as they read, which makes the reader more engaged. So think back to our show don't tell writing strategy, where we're encouraging you to use lots of descriptive words to make the reader feel, hear, see, smell, and taste what is happening around him. It keeps the reader from becoming bored while reading. It sets a purpose for reading and keeps the reader focused. So if you need to know that you have to make a connection to this text, that's the purpose, that it keeps you focused. Readers can see how other readers connected to the reading. So this is important, students, when we share our connections in class. You may listen to another student's point of view that you haven't thought of before and that you can make a connection to as well. It encourages readers to become actively involved in the story. And it helps readers to remember what they have read and ask questions about the text. So let's have a look at the text to self connection that the author made in the Making Connections in Reading YouTube clip. So she talked about a story called The Recess Queen. Let's have a read of what she said. When I read the part about Mean Jean being mean to the other kids on the playground, I think about how when I was in grade 2, there was a mean girl on the playground. One time she even pulled my hair. So can you see that she has identified the part in the story that she has made a text connect to self connection to, and then she's told us why or how that connection means something to her. That's really important, so that you can show us that you have made a deep connection to the story. In the text to text connection, the author was reading a book called What Do You Do with a Problem? And here's the connection that she made to another book. When I read the part where the boy was really afraid, but he didn't give up and he tackled his problem, I thought about how in The Most Magnificent Thing, the girl gets really frustrated. Nothing is working, but she keeps trying anyway until she finally succeeds. In both stories, they keep trying until they get it. So once again, the author has talked about which part of the story that she has connected to and how she connected it to another text. Now remember that another text can also be a movie, it can be an ad, it can be a YouTube clip, it can be a cartoon, etc. But you need to tell us which part of the story you connected to and how or why you connected that to another story. In the text to world connection, the author made a connection to the book called The Lorax. Let's have a read of what she said. When I read about all of the truffula trees getting cut down, I thought about how so many trees in the Amazon rainforest are being cut down. This is something that is happening in real life. So she has talked about which part of the story that she connected to, which was the trees being cut down, and how she connected it to something that is happening in the world or in the community. Now, this she may have heard about the Amazon rainforest through it might be through a BTN clip. It might be through the news that she's listened to. It might be through a documentary that she sat down and watched with her parents. But you need to tell us what connection you made in the story and how you can connect that to your real life. So what I would like you to do now is pause this screencast and go to the link in the lesson plan and watch Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Once you have done that, please come back to this page. So now that you've read Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, you need to make 3 connections to this text. You need to make a text-to-self connection, you need to make a text-to-text connection, and you need to make a text-to-world connection. Underneath each of those headings are some sentence starters that you can use to help prompt you and help give you some ideas. You must use one of these sentence starters when making your text-to-self, text-to-text, and text-to-world connections. They need to be in sentences that make sense. The sentences need to identify the part in the story that you've made the connection to, and then you must have a second sentence saying how you've made that connection. Good luck with your tasks today.